soon as I unmuted, Zoom just froze. So it's trying to stop our Looker Studio fun, but that's not going to happen. So hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's great to see you again. So we're going to be working with our very familiar Simply Music again today, but this time we're going to be using Looker Studio. So let me just share my screen and let's just talk about Looker Studio for a moment. And I do see some questions in live chat. So I saw a question saying, can I log in using my personal Google account? Yes, that is totally fine. So whatever Google account you want to use, that's the one where you're just going to be able to find your Looker Studio. So that's totally fine. So whichever one you're most comfortable with. Okay, so let me also get my annotation going. And then we're good to go. So with Looker Studio, we're going to still be building the same dashboard we were before. However, it's really good to learn how to do this with Looker Studio because then you get to kind of build up your repertoire. You also get to see which one you're more familiar with or more comfortable with you. So if you prefer Tableau in creating your dashboards or if you prefer Looker Studio. However, overall, it is great to know both of them. So amazing, and thanks Marina for sending that. You beat me to it. So we're going to be using Looker Studio, and it's a little different than Tableau in the fact that it's all online. So previously this was Google Data Studio. So we're just going to learn a little bit about this and about the dashboard process in Looker Studio. So we're going to be using that same Simply Music file. That's going to also be in the post that Marina just shared.
Okay, apologies. I think Elle is having some connection issues, so we'll just give her a few seconds to come back. In the meantime, I have just reshared Jorge's announcement from yesterday. So you will find the link there, and you can see the Simply Music file there as well. So we'll just give you a couple of minutes to get set up with those while we wait for Elle.
Yes, sorry about that. I'm not sure what's happening with Zoom. It keeps crashing. So hopefully, I think it's looking okay now. Let me just see if I can close any background processes. Just double checking. But okay, so nothing else has happened since we've last seen each other. But let me just send, you got the link and everything, and let me share my screen once more. So let's go ahead. It might be telling me my computer is on its last leg, so hopefully it's not that, but let me share this again. Alrighty. So we're gonna dive right into Looker Studio. I think this will be a bit more familiar because just kind of gauging everything, how are we feeling with Tableau? And then okay, so I saw maybe someone else was freezing too, so maybe it's a Zoom network issue. That's good to know. Thanks, Clara. Because yeah, it's very strange. It's only seems to be Zoom. And so okay, so for Tableau, we've got comfortable, very cool, very good, brilliant from James, amazing. Okay, good. So it's good to just compare and see one, how do we feel about Tableau, especially in comparison to Looker Studio. So again, it's good to know both, but let's see which one you're more comfortable with. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to share this link again in case it got lost a bit. So we're going to be using Looker Studio. And with Looker Studio, you just have to make sure that you've logged into your Google account. So whatever Google account you want to use, that's going to be the one where you see your saved files. So hopefully you've had a few moments just to log into your Google account and to access Looker Studio. And then once you log in, so once you have logged into your Google account, and then once you click on the link that I've sent as well in live chat, then you should see something like this. So can we just confirm that you see something that looks like this? Or maybe you've already jumped ahead a bit and started your blank report. Awesome. Love it. Great. Okay, I see lots of yeses. That makes me happy. So again, if you're not quite there, then once you log in to your Google account and click on the link, you're going to see this. So what you want to do first, and if you're following along with me in Codio, then you're going to see we have some instructions here as well. So you're going to see we're going to be creating a new report. So first we're going to go create a new data source to actually connect it, just like we did in Tableau. So we're going to identify our data source, and then we're going to create a new report in Looker Studio. So let's go ahead and do this. So you see we're first going to click create, that's right here. So we're going to click on create, and we're going to first do report. So we can just create another report here. So once you do this, it's going to think for a moment, and then this should pop up. So once you click on your new report, this should appear. And remember, we're using a comma separated file. So all of our values are separated by commas. This is similar, but not exactly the same as an Excel file. So just remember in Excel, it's an Excel workbook, but in CSV, comma separated values, those are going to be separated by by commas, not columns. So this is why we're going to use CSV this time. But if you wanted to, in the future, use an Excel file or anything else, you definitely could. So just make sure to click on this CSV right here. And then just hit authorize. So just make sure you click authorize because it's just letting Looker Studio kind of make sure it's accessing the correct data. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. And then you should see this. So once you see this, you can either just click here, or maybe if you have the file handy already, then you can drag and drop your file. So, and I do see for some of you, it's asking for company. You can kind of just put anything. So it's just asking for a bit of basic info, just data tracking. So you can put kind of anything there and then just agree to the terms, just so you can access Looker Studio. Okay, great. Yeah. So some of you wrote Amazon. So yeah, it shouldn't be an issue with whatever you type in. If you see that company pop up, like I saw in live chat. And amazing. So you see after we've added our data that it's uploaded right here. So this was just our Simply Music file. So just what I did in the last couple of steps, once you open your report, once you click create and then report, it's going to ask you which file you want to upload. So you make sure you're clicking CSV because that's the type of file that we're using. So you just want to click this CSV file. So I'll just do it again. So you see, once you click create report, you should see something that looks like this. So you have a lot of different options for your data, but you should make sure just to click this CSV file upload, just because Simply Music is going to be a CSV file. So after you click this, then you're going to be given an option to actually upload your data. So then just go ahead and find your Simply Music file, which likely will be in your downloads folder. And then you can just add your files here. It looks a little different just because I just uploaded it in the last step. So once it's done uploading, you'll see this green dot and then it'll say uploaded. Then once you see this green and it says uploaded, you can click add. It will think a little bit, and then after it's done, it's going to open your report. So you see that it's asking me, okay, you're going to add this data to your report. Is this okay? So just double check and make sure it's the Simply Music file that you want, and then that it just has all of our other data. So once that's done, you can just click add to report. Then it's going to think for a bit, and then you're all set. So yeah, I'll just do this from the top, just because I know some of you were getting that message that was asking you for your company, I think. So let's just do it once more from the top. So let's just assume that we're starting from this Looker Studio link. So the first thing we're going to do, just a quick recap, we're going to go ahead and click Create. So click on Create here. Then you're going to click on Report. So click Report. So once you see this, you want to click CSV. So we're going to look for our data sources and look for our CSV file upload, which is right here. So make sure to click on this right here, CSV file upload. Then you're just going to look for your file. So I think it's best to just click here. So then you can look in your folder for your file and then look for your Simply Music file. So I have a lot of Simply Music here, but I think this one is okay. We'll use this Tableau one. And either of these are okay. Just whichever Simply Music you have is the one that you're going to use. And then once you have your file uploaded, you can click on Add. So then you'll just click Add. And it'll think for a little bit. And then a pop-up should appear, just asking if you're okay with adding your data to your report. Once you see this, this is okay, as long as this is the correct CSV file, and you can just click Add to Report. So then once you click Add to Report, it's going to load all of your data here. That looks pretty much just like Tableau. So notice we have our dimensions and metrics. So the numbers are going to be our metrics, and if we have categories or like different categories for data, then you're going to see these as A, B, C. Okay, just want to double check if we all managed to get here. And awesome, thank you so much, Sudesh. Got some thumbs up, amazing. Okay, awesome, on track. Great. So we have this, and let's just kind of, I know it was last week, but let's just remind ourselves of what we'd like our dashboard to look like. So let's look at the structure that we have here. So remember, this is kind of our general layout for everything. Your sidebar might be flipped, but that's okay. Whatever you have is fine. But for what we actually want the pages of the dashboard to look like, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but it's helpful to see our components. So we know we want our company logo. We want a date picker, which was the filter that we had in Tableau. We also want some scorecards with units sold, profit, and revenue. And then we want these different visualizations. So we're going to have to work on creating these. This is for our bird's eye view. And then remember, we also have our detailed view. So with our detailed view, we'll have our logo, our scorecards again, our date picker again, and then we introduce our drill downs and our bubble charts. So just kind of a reminder of what we're going to build for our dashboard. So now let's get into our first visualization. So it's a little bit different with the formatting in Tableau, but I still think once you kind of get used to it, it's a bit intuitive. So just like we want to create different dashboards in Tableau, we want to create different pages for our report. So we want to make sure that we have our bird's eye view for one page and then our detailed view. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to click on Add Page. You can also click on Page here, and you can click New Page. Either is fine, whichever you're comfortable with. And then you'll see that you see one here and then two. So you'll notice that we have these two pages that are just like when we had our two dashboards. So we also want to rename these pages just so it's a bit more intuitive, or it's a bit more information about what we have. So to navigate your pages, what you'll do is first click on Page again, and then we're going to click on Manage Pages. So similarly to how we're managing our dashboards in Tableau. So click on Manage Pages. And now you'll see that we can actually rename the pages here. And if you want, you can change the order. So you can change the order, you can edit your pages, so you can duplicate them. You can do a lot of different things for your pages as long as you're in the managing feature. So let's go ahead and rename this one. So our first one is going to be bird's eye view, remember? So this is bird's eye view. And then our next one, remember, was detailed view. So we're just going to click, rename, and then detailed view. And then we have our pages renamed. And then Marie's asking a great question. In Looker Studio, the page is equivalent to a dashboard in Tableau. Yes, exactly. That's a great point. So our pages are where we're going to actually display all of our charts and visualizations. So, excellent question. And if you don't have the rename option, it might be because maybe you're not in this navigation part. So just make sure that you're clicking on page and then you click on manage pages. And then you have to hover over to where you see these three dots here. And then just click on the three dots. And then it should appear. So once you do that, hopefully you can see these rename pages here. Alternatively, if you just double click, you can rename that way too. And then, can I repeat? Yes, which part would you like me to repeat? So far, we're just on our kind of building our pages. So this is, as Marie mentioned, this is equivalent to kind of building our dashboards. Yeah, so for pages, if you just want to get to your navigation, you're just going to click on page. You're going to click on manage pages, and then this is what pops up. So you'll see this. If you haven't yet renamed everything, then you're just going to click on these three dots. So you click on the three dots and then rename. So then once we've done this, now we have our canvases. So now we can start building our different visualizations on these and organize them later as we see fit. So this is what we've done. We've already created our manage pages. So if you're also following along on Codio, we're just on page 5. And if you ever kind of like want to recap or just double check about this, these steps are also in your Codio. So now let's go ahead and remember the first thing we did in Tableau was building our different calculations. So our calculated fields. We don't have profits or total cost in our data right now. So this is what we actually have to build again. We're going to have to build this. So let's just remember our profit and total cost formulas. So remember, we have to build total cost first because we have units sold and we have cost, but profit is going to utilize total cost. So this is why we have to build this one first. So let's go ahead and build our calculated field. So to build a calculated field, and then hopefully the size is okay for you all to see, what you'll do, and you might notice it looks almost exactly the same as Tableau in kind of this structure. What you'll do is you'll click add a field and then add calculated field. So now you'll see we can enter our field name and we can enter our formula. That's pretty much, I think, almost exactly the same as the Tableau functionality. And it's meant to kind of be similar and intuitive because these are kind of versatile features that we can use. So just as a reminder, we're going to do our total cost first. So this is units sold times cost. Yeah, so just how to get to this calculated field. So that I didn't save. We're going to click add a field, which is right here. And then we're going to click add calculated field. So then once you do that, you'll see we're able to open this. So let's call this one So remember, we're just going to build this total cost first. And total cost is going to be units sold times cost. So let's go ahead and build this. Remember, in your names, you cannot have spaces. So make sure you're not using any spaces. If you want to have kind of like a separation of your words, just go ahead and use that underscore. So total cost. And then similarly, as you begin to type, so as I begin to type units sold, it's going to pop up here. So it's going to tell me which units I have. So go ahead and click on units sold. So that's our first step. And then remember, for the multiplication symbol, we're going to use star. So that has to be star or asterisk. And then we're going to do cost, which is right here. You know that this is okay when you see this green check. So this means your formula is A-okay, Looker Studio is happy with it, and you're good to go. So again, once you have total cost here, so no spaces in between total and cost, and then units sold times cost, just like we see here, units sold times cost, and making sure you're using that star instead of an X. Once you do this, make sure to save. So before you click done, make sure you click save, else it won't save. So first we'll click save. And when you see calculated field saved, then you're A-okay. So that's good. So now once that's done, we can click done. So the field ID is just going to be internal. So that's just going to be for Looker Studio to use to kind of keep track of the different variables. Yeah, good question. Okay. So is that okay? Are we feeling okay thus far? Are we all caught up? All good. Feeling good. Awesome. Love to see that. One more time, sure. Awesome. Okay, so let's just do one more time. So I'll just show you how to get to the calculated field. If you're okay with this, then try this with profit while I'm explaining this again. So just try this exact same thing, but try to build profit instead of total cost. So just a recap of how to get to this. So first you click add a field. Then you're going to click add a calculated field. So you click this here. And then you're going to enter your field name, which remember can't have any spaces, and then your formula. So this will just depend on right now, if you're doing profit, then just make sure to do your profit formula. If you're still catching up and doing total cost, that is no worries at all. Then make sure just to do the total cost formula. And then here they are here, just so you can actually see it. And I see profit done, amazing. And I see some all goods. So any other questions with this creating a new calculated field? See done. Okay, awesome. Great. Okay. So let's go over profit. So, and the same thing with this, just make sure there are no spaces, make sure there are no odd symbols as well. And also you have to make sure when we're doing profit that you've already done total cost. So that's going to be important. So let's go ahead and create profit. So I'm just going to type profit right here. And then, not to give you whiplash by going back and forth so much, but just want to show you again, we're doing this formula here. So we want to have dollar sold minus the total cost. So what we'll do first is dollar sold. So as you begin typing it, it should appear. I recommend just clicking on it. You shouldn't have to have it to completion just because it's easier to make mistakes that way. So we have our dollar sold. Now we're going to subtract from our total cost, which you see Maybe I should have put in all caps, but that's okay. We're going to just click right here. So now you see that I see this green check right here, and that means this is okay. And then I see a good question. So I forgot to add the underscore between total cost. How can I edit? Or maybe how do I edit if I've just done the wrong calculation? So that's a great question. Let's just look at that. So you see that profit is now here as well as total cost. If I want to edit them, so if I made a mistake with either the name or the formula, just click right here where you see this f of x. So all the way to the left, you'll click on that, and then this will reappear. So you can make any edits here. So I can edit the name, I can edit the formula, anything that you need to do. But once you've done your changes, make sure that you click update. Just make sure you click update before you click done. Awesome. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, if you click done without clicking save, it's not going to save your changes. So just double check to see if you have everything correct. And so subtract is just going to be, on my keyboard, it's to the right of 0, but it's just the hyphen symbol. Yes, upload and done. Important, yes. No problem. I see more typing. Just want to double check before we continue. Done. Okay, awesome. All right. Awesome. So let's keep going. I think we're good. And then Sam has confirmed no issue with space, just like Tableau. Awesome. That is good to know. I'm not sure why Tableau, for some people, had issues with space. It's kind of weird. So let's chug along with our lesson. So let's just make a general first bar chart just to see the different functionalities and see what our layout format is in Looker Studio. So can you guess what we're going to click? Just from either if you've looked at the case before class, which is amazing, or just comparing this with Tableau. If I want to make a chart, what am I going to click? Amazing. Yes. Add a chart. Exactly. So we don't have show me this time. Instead, we have add a chart. So I'm just going to click on here. I'm going to click the arrow. And you see I have all of these different options. So I have all these different options I'm going to do just to follow along with Codio and also follow along with our overall dashboard structure. We're going to click on bar chart. And this I feel like is really nice because you see, once I click on add a chart, I can put it anywhere I want. So you get to organize your chart from the very beginning. You get to see where you want to pick it or where you want to place it. And you also notice these lines. These are to help you align the chart, either in the center or just on the very ends. So it's really, really nice here. So I'm just going to put it right here, I suppose. So I'll click here. And you see it's going to think for a bit, but then it's going to give us our first chart. So let's explore our variables on the right side. And again, this is very familiar or very similar to Tableau. And then, so just answering your question, Luam, just make sure you've created total cost. So total cost is a variable we had to create ourselves. So make sure you create this one first before you create profit. So we see our first visualization here. So you'll notice it's actually giving us our time key from the very start, even though we're not immediately using it, but we'll understand this later on in the lesson. We see our dimension is going to be channel. So this being a dimension right here, what does this mean? What does it mean if channel is my dimension? History's like no floating here. Yes, we have no floating. Everything is floating. We don't need to justify anything as being floating. Exactly. So if I'm again looking at my dimension, In regards to my chart, what does it mean to have channel as my dimension? What does dimension in general mean? It's a throwback to last week. Well done. I'm going to let everyone get their typing in because I see several people are typing, which I always love to see. That's one of my favorite things to see. Exactly. So well done. This is going to be the first thing. It's going to be one of our axes. So since we have a horizontal bar chart, it's going to be technically our y-axis this time. And it's going to be the category. So this is what we're measuring the different variables on. So this is what we're measuring. So excellent. This is our category. So keeping in mind that this is the category, what is going to be my metric? What does metric mean then? So knowing that this is my category, what does metric mean? And I see metric is going to be right here. Well done. Exactly. Metric is going to do with values. Excellent. So your channel actually can't be your metric because these are categories. These are not numbers. Your metric has to do with numbers. So excellent. It's exactly the count or the numbers to be measured on. Well done. So you see the separation here, and you'll see this is going to come into play when we want to build our different visualizations. We have to remember, okay, what do we want to measure? And then for metric, we have to remember what values are we looking for in these categories. So you should see these chart categories. So if I click elsewhere, they're going to go away. But then when I click on my graph again, they'll reappear. So if you don't see them, just make sure to click on your graph. And if you haven't created your graph, just make sure to click add a chart and then choose your bar chart. And then this will also appear. Okay. So, and then just answering in live chat, if you're on your calculated field, so total and cost are separated. So right now, Looker Studio doesn't understand, like it's thinking total is separate. So make sure that you're putting it together. So make sure total cost is together as one field. Okay, oh yeah, so can I repeat adding a chart? Yes. So what you'll do is for adding a chart, just click here. So click on add a chart. This time we added a horizontal bar chart. So you just hover to here. So when you click on this, it's going to see where you want to place this. So I can just place it anywhere I want. I do want you to notice these alignment lines. So you see how I have this kind of red line in the middle? This is the center. So this is trying to make your charts have the same center. This is making it so they are aligned at the top. And this is making it so they're aligned at the bottom. So I really like this functionality. I think it's really handy. And then maybe I did that too long. Maybe it's like you were just waving this around for too long, so now it's too much. But actually, no, it's because my dimensions are weird. So let's do our next visualization. Let me undo this because I clicked elsewhere. So the first thing that we've done is we've created this. This is our first bar chart. And then Sadesh has a great summary. Again, yes, dimensions are going to be what are the things that you're analyzing. So what categories are you trying to measure? And then your metrics are going to be the values. Those are your numbers. So how much or how many, things like this. So you'll also see that these are separated. Sometimes where they're separated by either these letters for our dimensions or the numbers by the metric. So let's go ahead and go to our next one. So we've already done this. So this was our first exercise in creating our calculated fields. Now let's go ahead and create one of our charts. So this we also kind of went over, but let's just look at the different features in Looker Studio. So we've already reviewed our dimension. I think we've got a really good handle on that, which is great. Same thing for our metrics. So those are the numbers. We've got a great understanding of this too. And remember, we also can have a date range dimension. So in Tableau, this was our filter. So remember in Tableau, we added our filter where if someone clicked on our dashboard, they could choose whatever dates they wanted to pick. So we can do the same thing in Looker Studio, and we'll do this later on. We also have our drill down, so handy dandy drill down. So kind of squishing multiple categories into one variable so we can zoom in and zoom in some more to really understand the different metric values or categories just in one variable. So drilling down allows us to have more specific information for a measured field. And then these are chart interactions. We're not going to really work with these today, but you can do this if you want interactions between charts. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make our date range. So we're going to add, or actually, before we do this, we're going to add our first visualization that's not just our bar chart. So remember, we had our line charts that are going to be in our bird's eye view. So let's just look at an example. So ultimately, we're going to want to create this. So from Tableau, this is almost exactly what it looks like. Remember, we're looking at this by month. So we're looking at iterations by month. We see in blue, this is going to be our dollars sold, aka our revenue. And then we see our profit. So of course, our profit is not going to be as high as our revenue. So we want to make this as well. So let's go through this. And this is going to be a handy kind of hint because this is what we're going to look like. This is what the metrics and dimensions are going to look like. So let's go ahead and make this chart. So I want you to try to walk me through this. Just given your background in Tableau now, you are dashboard experts. What is the first step that I'm going to do to make this line chart? Amazing. Yes, I love the enthusiasm too. We're going to add a chart. Yes. Okay, which chart am I going to choose? Which one of these am I going to choose? Amazing line chart. So yes, we're going to choose this time series chart. Excellent. And then if you want to really organize it, you can, absolutely. So once I click here, okay, this is what I see now. I'm seeing all kinds of lines. This looks like chaos. What do I do now? And Joseph is on the ball. Change time key to month. Excellent. So we see that we have right now, this dimension is going to be our time key. We want this to actually be month instead of just random iterations of time. We want this to be consistent. So let's go ahead and drag. So we're going to click and drag month and just put it smack dab over time key. So right over time key. And now, okay, it's looking a little bit better. It's looking better. Now, what are we going to do? And amazing, I actually see this already in live chat. A lot of you were ahead of the game. So add your metric and sub profit in dollars sold into our metric. Exactly. So you see right now I have my record count, which is not helpful for what we're looking at. So instead of having record count, we want to have dollars sold, aka revenue, and profit. So to replace this, what we'll do is look for our dollars sold, which is right here. So I take dollars sold, I click on it, I'm putting it smack dab over our record count. Great, that's our first step. And then I'm going to look for profit, which is right here. So I see profit, click, hold, and put this in my metric because remember, this is a number. And now I see dollars sold and profit. Well done. Okay. So yes, so what we did, we added a chart. So adding a chart, we're creating our time series chart since we're looking at data over time. So once you click on this, we get our fields again. The only changes that we made for this is this used to be time key. We changed this from time key to month. The way that you do that is just you click month, click, hold, and then just let go. So month is going to be our dimension because we want to look at our dollars sold and profit over time. So we want to see how it changes over time. For our metrics, remember these are the numbers. So the numbers we're trying to measure over these categories. So then we're going to take our dollars sold, click, drag. You can just replace it with your record count if that's the metric you had before. You can just put it smack dab over your old metric. And then profit, we drag as well. Yeah, if you don't have the setup tab, I'm not sure. Try refreshing maybe Looker Studio. Hopefully it should appear every time you click on this. So that is strange. And so if you don't see this, just double check and make sure your formulas are correct. Because if you've put them in and you see this is exactly the same, it means there's likely something wrong with your formula. Okay, refresh fixed it. Awesome. Great. Okay, amazing. And then just for the chart settings itself, if maybe you want to just change, you can change the gradient or you can change the color here. What I did was initially we're at setup. You click to style and you see all of these different things that you can change. So you can change the colors, you can change the gradient. You have a lot of different options that you can explore here. So just keep this in mind. You can also change your tick interval here. So you can change your interval of your x-axis. So you can kind of play around with this here as well. Can I use Looker for my EC2? That's a good question. I feel like probably not, but I'm glad you like Looker Studio. Okay, very user-friendly. Awesome. Maybe because we did Tableau first. Yes, I do find it very user-friendly as well, but I'm glad that you're also liking it. That's great to see. Okay, so now we're going to do, of course, trial by fire. So with our next exercise, this is not the only line chart that we need. We're going to need one more. So now I would like you to create this same line chart, but we're going to change our dimensions and metrics, of course. So instead of looking at dollars sold and profit over time, let's do units sold over time. So the time is still going to be per month. So we just want to see how many units were sold every month. So let's try this one for exercise 3. And I'll look in live chat. So, and then yeah, again, if this looks different, just double check your formula because if the lines are different, it's taking it directly from your calculated formula. So it's likely maybe you swap these in your order. Maybe you did cost minus, I don't know, maybe you did something weird. Maybe you multiplied instead of subtracted. So just double check that your calculated formula is correct if it doesn't look like this. Amazing. I already see you've organized your dashboards. Well done. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. See more typing. Let's see those visualizations. And then I will tell you one other thing as well, if you want to kind of get more fancy with your charts. What you can also do is you can right click just anywhere on your, anywhere on your blank space, you can right click and then click on theme and layout. And you'll see just like in Tableau, where we had our kind of set color schemes, we have this in Looker Studio as well. So I will likely pick this one because it's closest to the Simply Music logo. But if you want to be more creative, you can choose maybe the purple or choose something else. But once we click our theme, it also changes the colors to match this theme. So that's one way that you can do this. And amazing, I'm seeing all of the beautiful charts in live chat. Well done. I see Looker Studio is my favorite now. Love to see that. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Awesome, beautiful. And yes, so assuming that you mean, can I repeat the theme? Yes. So if you want to change your theme to like a set kind of color, like we did in Tableau, what you'll do is right click. So anywhere in this blank space, I'm going to right click. Then I just click theme and layout. So I just click right here. And then you can choose your different themes. So you can just click on whichever one you like best, and it will change your chart's colors according to that. Then my annotate likes to disappear, but it's back. Awesome. Okay, so I see a lot of them in live chat. Well done. I haven't really organized this yet, but I think it's a bit easier to kind of move things around. So you see I just click and drag around. Unlike Tableau, it's a little bit more difficult, I feel like. So let's go ahead and go over how to make this, but with our units sold. So what we'll do, it's almost exactly the same as we've done before. So we're going to go to add a chart. This is still a line chart, still a time series chart, just like before. And then we're just going to click wherever you want your chart to be. So remember, time key is not what we want for our dimension. We want our time to be every single month. So instead of having time key here, I need to change this to month. So I look for month, which is here. I click and I just put it right over time key. And we're almost there. So that's almost exactly what I want. And then I also need to replace this. So remember, we want to look at units sold over time. So I'm going to look for units sold, which is right here. And I just replace it and put it right over that record count. So you may notice that it has this gradient. If you want to get rid of the gradient, then you just click on Style, and then you just uncheck this gradient. But if you like the gradient, by all means, keep the gradient, whichever you fancy. But I just wanted to show you if you want to get rid of it. So record count is just there kind of as a default. So it's just helpful. It's telling you how many entries you have. It's kind of like your row count if you were comparing it to Excel. So just telling you how much data you have and when it was selected if you're looking at time series or when it was entered. Okay. And yes, if you want to change the names, you absolutely can. So if you really hate dollars sold, you can change this. So what you'll do, oops, double clicked on accident. So what you'll do is we see our dollars sold, and let me get out of this first. So we see our dollars sold. I think it actually is getting mad at me for doing this. So I don't think it's as intuitive for kind of right clicking and changing. Our dollars sold might have to be the same for now. I think what you'll have to do is in your main data, go and change this. So if we're looking at our kind of data properties, we're going to have to go through and dig a bit more. I guess one kind of quick fix that you could do is create a new field and then kind of just use the exact same thing, but replace the name. An alternative is when you have these dollars sold, you can add text instead of having your legends like this. You can delete your legend and then add some text instead. And oh yeah, Patrick, you're gonna suggest that. You beat me to it. So you could do that instead. But yes, so we have our dollars sold for now. Yes, it's kind of just hanging out there. Okay. But yes, we can get rid of our legends later on. You can do that if you're editing the data and kind of going into style. you can play around with this as well and then get rid of your legends. Okay, so yes, so tell you this last one. So assuming you mean this one, if we want to add just this chart here, what we did was add a chart, make sure it's your time series chart, place it wherever you'd like to. It thinks for a little bit. This we need by month. So we just take our month, replace, and then remember we needed units sold. So that's our metric. And amazing. Wow, we got some beautiful dashboards already. I love to see it. So I'm just going to delete this one so we don't have a duplicate. Okay, so no problem. So we've done exercise 3. Let's try to just do a little bit more before your break. And don't worry, I'm still going to give you that full break because I know whenever you're using kind of a new tool, it can be a little bit taxing. So I will give you the full break as pretty much always. So let's look at how to do scorecards, just like in Tableau. So remember, before we had our scorecard for our profit, revenue, and also units sold. So let's do the same thing for this. So to do a scorecard, what you'll do is click on Add a Chart. And then you notice that you have these different types of scorecards. So we have a normal scorecard, which is going to show you the entire number. And we also have the compact scorecard, which is going to abbreviate the number. So abbreviate like 1.1 million or maybe 63.2K for 1,000. So it's going to make the number smaller. It's more compact. So what we'll do is let's actually just choose the compact scorecard. And of course, you can place this wherever you'd like to. In our previous dashboard, this was at the top. So we'll just stick with the top. You see, it really loves our record counts, so it just wants to tell you how much data you have, but this isn't really helpful for what we want. So the metric is going to be what is displayed right here. So instead, let's go ahead and display our revenue, aka our dollars sold. So we're going to click here on dollars sold, and then we're just going to replace it. And then you see it is here. So then we have our scorecard right there. So amazing, is still seeing them in live chat, seeing all these lovely dashboards. Well done. Yes, so also repeat the scorecard. So what you'll do is add a chart, and we're going to use compact just so our numbers are a bit more kind of compact and squished together with abbreviations. So once we click on scorecard, then you can choose where to place it. If you want to place it right next to it, that works too. And then you see that we have this metric here. So we have record count. That's not what we want right now. Let's say we'll do profit this time. So if we want profit, what we'll do is we'll click, drag, and just put it right over record count. So replace it. And then you see profit appears here. Awesome. So yeah, you can see the different options. So if you hover over them, you see these are dimensions. So with this one, you can add another dimension to this scorecard if you want to. But we're going to focus just on this compact numbers. Yeah, no problem. Another thing we can do is, like before, we want to add our Simply Music logo. So let me also upload the logo again, just so you have it. So I have too many downloads. All of a sudden, I just had 1 million downloads. So here's the logo, just so you have it. And then if you want to add an image, we can also add an image, of course. So to do this, we're going to visit Insert. And you see, we actually have our different charts available in Insert as well. But make sure you just scroll all the way down to Image, which is towards the end of this list. So you'll just click on Image. First, it's going to ask you to kind of pick how big you want the image to be and where. So I'm just going to make a crosshair where I think I kind of want it to be. So this looks okay. I'm going to put it right here. Now I can actually select a file. So I can choose which file I want to upload. So I'm just going to look through here and find my logo. So this was in my downloads folder. It'll likely be in the same place for you. Then I just selected the image from my downloads folder and then it appears. Yeah. Yes, so many downloads, I know. So now we have our image as well as our scorecard. Amazing. Oh my goodness, I already see it in live chat. So if you want to change the text and everything for here, you'll just click on your scorecard and then you'll go to style and you have all these different kind of labels and font that you can change here. So you can change the color, the background color, the size of the font, the color of the font, as well as the font itself. You can also change the decimal precision if you want, so how many decimal places you'd like it to have. And yes, the logo file, it's here in live chat, so I'll just forward this message again. So yeah. So, as I think some of you have already done this, but in our last 1 minute before break, can you just create a scorecard for units sold? So we've done one for revenue, aka dollar sold. We've done one for profit. Now let's just do units sold. Anwar is just like, I've already done this. I did this forever ago. Amazing. Well done. But if you haven't done it already, just make sure to add that units sold here as well, just to complete our dashboard. Amazing. I love seeing it in live chat. And all of yours are much more organized than mine. So just remember too, if you want to move these charts around, you just click and then you just put it to where you want. So click and drag to wherever you'd like it to be. So, and then you can also, I encourage you to use these alignment lines to really make sure your charts are center and all those fun things. So it's really helpful. Awesome. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take our 10-minute break. Welcome back, everyone. It's such a tragedy because that was like a really good song, but welcome back. I hope you have a great break. I was just answering one of the questions in live chat from Sam. Just double checking to make sure this wasn't supposed to be count instead of sum. And that's a great point. This was actually kind of poorly worded, so maybe we'll have to change that in the future. So that's supposed to be actually the sum. So sum is correct for that one, but that's a great thing to point out. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back into Looker Studio. And I loved seeing all of your dashboards in live chat. Well, so well done, especially all the different themes. So you'll notice that, well, one, let me go ahead and add our units sold. So we have that completed. Just as a recap from last time or 10 minutes ago, if we're creating that scorecard, remember you're going to click add a chart. And now it's over here for me. And then we're going to create our scorecard by just clicking compact numbers. So I'm going to just try to align this here, but I can always move it later. And oh, actually, it's read my mind and it knew I wanted units sold. So now we have units sold there. So just to kind of complete this dashboard, of course, you can add more text to it to describe the different charts that you have and the variables that you're measuring. So if you do want to add text, you can through insert. And then if I scroll down to text, I can just, similar to how I created my image, just create a text box and then put in whatever text I would like right in here. So whatever you'd like to do there. Additionally, let's just add our last visualization here. So remember from last time, we actually had our 4 visualizations, and our last one was looking at revenue and profit across our different channels. So let's just make this one quickly as kind of an overall recap again for making our charts. So what we'll do, we're going to click Add a Chart. This one we still had as horizontal in our previous dashboard. We can place it right here, and we know it's center because of this line. And then if I want to add dollars sold in profit, what do I do? What do I have to replace? What do I do? See some typing. So I have units sold here, but I actually want to see dollars sold and profit instead. How would I do that? See more typing. Yes, amazing. We gotta change our metrics and we have to add exactly dollars sold and profit here. So let's look for dollars sold, which is right here, and just replace it with unit sold. Unit sold was fighting a good fight, but it was defeated. And then we're gonna have profit. So we'll put profit here as well. And you see, once we do that, it's gonna stack, or not stack, but it's gonna put it side by side. So this is good. However, remember, this should be channels. So if this is gonna be channels, what do I have to replace? If I want channels instead of month, because even with month, it's I guess if you want to see dollars sold in profit by month, that's cool, but that's not what we want. Exactly. So we have month right now, and I have to replace this with channel. Excellent. So now this looks like what we wanted it to for our first dashboard. So this is our bird's eye view dashboard. Of course, we should add more text to it and make it a little bit more clean, but this is almost everything we need. The last thing that we want to do is add our date picker. So remember, we had our filter before, but in this case, it's called a control. So we want to add a control that allows people, when they're visiting this dashboard, they can click and then choose what date they want to view the data range. So to do this, remember again, this is like our filter in Tableau. We're going to click Add a Control. So at the very top, we're going to click Add a Control. And then you see we're going to click on Date Range Control. So we'll click Date Range Control, and you see it's going to ask me where I want to put this. And you could put it wherever you'd like to. And now I have my date range. And so now, whenever someone picks this, they can choose whatever data they want or the dates and see what data is available in that date range. So whatever date that they select, whatever range they select, all of your charts are automatically going to update for that. Amazing. I see you added that control in no time at all. Well done. Just a quick repeat for adding this. Remember, this is kind of like our date filter. So we're going to add a control. We scroll down where it says date range control. And then once you click this, it just asks you where you want to put it. So put it wherever you'd like to, and then you're done. So then when someone visits your dashboard, they can choose whatever date they would like, and all of your charts will change accordingly. So that is what we'll do. Okay, amazing. I see it updated on some of your charts. Well done. Excellent. So now we have our bird's eye view. Just remember, if we're looking at our pages, this is our bird's eye view for the first one. If maybe your pages kind of are mixed up in order, you can just kind of drag these around if you want. Let's go ahead and move towards our detailed view. So just if you're following along with me in Codio, we already reviewed changing the theme, as we see with all of our multiple different beautiful color dashboards, which I love to see. And this is what we actually just did. We added our date picker. So as our proof in live chat, we have this first bird's eye view. You've all created this and it looks amazing. So well done. First dashboard done in Looker Studio. Now we still have some work to do. We have to create our detailed view now. So let's start with our drill down. I feel like I didn't get to see it in person, of course. I wasn't for your drill down kind of lesson. But I know other people's experience with drill down in Tableau isn't always positive. But drill down in Looker Studio is not as bad. So um, Raya, I see your question. Does the filter bar work the same in Tableau? I'm not quite understanding your properties option question, but if you want to select a specific date range, you can instead of auto. So normally it's just going to pick auto, just saying where your data starts and where it ends. Otherwise, if you want to pick a specific range, you can just select it. But you don't have to set up anything other than that. If you just leave it as auto, it's okay the way it is. Yeah, so if you made bird's eye view in detailed view, that is a-okay. All you have to do is change your page name. So what you'll just do is, sorry, I did that intuitively, but let me go back. So what you'll do is click page, and then you'll just click manage pages. Then you're going to see this. So click on these three dots right here and just rename. So you'll just swap the names of bird's eye view and detailed view, and then you'll be all set. Okay. And then for your control, no need to worry about any of if you see properties with it, you don't have to worry about changing it. You're all set just for this. You're all good. Okay, so let's look at our detailed view. So we can go to our next page. And now we have our blank detailed view that we have to start on. So let's start with our drill down, because remember our drill down was one of the bigger portions that we had in Tableau. So let's just look at this first. Do you see how easy it is to just create a drill down? As soon as you click this kind of tab that says drill down, boom, drill down's created. So you literally can create this drill down in about 15 seconds by just flipping this switch. So I personally feel like it's a little bit easier than Tableau, at least drill down wise. But this is going to be the drill down that we'll create. So just as a recap for if you remember what the drill down looks like, remember what we had was it was our drill down. We're looking at products. And then, of course, well, actually, let's just visit it. Let's go back to our beginning and look at this again. So we've done this. We've done our bird's eye view. And now we want to go ahead and create this, our detailed view. So we're going to have a bar chart with the drill downs, and we want to look at sales. And then we want another drill down that's looking at the total profit. So we're going to look at the total profit this time. And then we also want to create these other options here. So let's go ahead and do our trickier plots first. And yes, let's switch on and off that drill down feature. Okay. So let's just do the unit sold first. It doesn't matter which one we do first. So let's just do that one first. So remember, this is going to be a bar chart, and we're still using our horizontal bar charts. So what we'll do is insert, or actually I think I find add a chart nicer because you can see the pictures. So I think it's a little bit nicer. So we'll go to add a chart, and then we'll click on our bar chart, and we place it wherever you would like to place it. And then look at this. I'm going to just click on this and it's become a drill down. Of course, we have to add our different features to it, but it gives us the slots to add our dimensions. So if you remember the order, first, if we're just looking at this from Codio, so first is going to be product line. So that's just at the top in our hierarchy. So first, let's get our product line, which is right here. So I click and drag. So we have our first step, which is good. Next, we have our product line. Then we're going to go to our product type. which you'll see right here. So then we'll go to product type. So I'm going to look for product type, which is right here. I click, and I'm just going to put it underneath. Because remember, the order matters for drill down. Order is actually very important. And last but not least, I'm going to put description. So description, I'm just going to click and drag and put it right here. And we don't want record count. For this one, let's instead do units sold. So let's do units sold, aka how many things you sold, how many musical instruments or pianos, etc. So I'm going to click on units sold and replace it with record count in my matrix. And now you see we have our first drill down. So that's going to be our very first drill down. So it might not look like a drill down right now. Maybe to you, it's like, this is the exact same chart. What are you talking about? To actually have it drill down, I have to click on my arrows. So I have to click here. So you see, if I click down, now I can see it's expanded to my product type. Then if I want to look at description, I click down again. And now I see I have these. You'll notice it's a bit squished right now. So just to help that, it's better to make this a little bit bigger. So, or actually kind of taller. So you see that this has enough space. If you don't have enough space kind of going horizontally, you can also use less space for your chart. So I know it's a little hard to see, but I'm hovering over just this blue line. So I'm hovering just over the blue line, and then I'm just dragging, just so everything can fit, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And, oh yeah, so for sort, it's just going to put whatever unit you have in sort there. So the same unit you have in metric is going to be the same unit for dollar, or sorry, for sort. So yeah, just the same unit that you have in metric. Yeah. Okay, Marta's saying Tableau is more user-friendly, so you prefer Tableau drill downs. That's fair enough. It's good to have your preferences too, because you are going to be doing this yourself. So it's good to find what is more intuitive for you. So that's most important. Yes. So let's just do this again. And if you're already a-okay with this, go ahead and try the same thing, but just like last time, try this with profit. So instead of our units sold, try this with profit. But let me explain this again. I'm going to just do units sold again. So we click add a chart, and then we're going to click on our bar chart because we want this to be a horizontal bar chart. You pick wherever you want this to be. And then I have to add in, well, first I have to tell Looker Studio, this is a drill down. And now I'm going to actually add in my different components. So remember first, we had our product line. So first comes the product line. And I'm just going to put it right over channel. Then is going to come product type, because remember the order is very important here. Then I'm going to have product type. And then last but not least, I'm going to have our product description. So just the description of the item. Now I have everything I need. So record count is here. That's fine too. Hopefully units sold and our record count should be the same, but if it's different, we might have some weird data errors, but that's okay. That's for data cleaning that we should do later on. Now, if you actually want to see what the drill down looks like, you can click this down. So literally drilling down. So down. Just looking at this visually, I don't like this because it's overlapping. So what I would do is just click on the corners to make it a little bigger. And then what I would do is just kind of squeeze this. So I'm hovering over like where this blue line starts, where the y-axis begins, and then squeezing it over just so there's enough room for the text. So, oh no, I see a system error. I don't know what's happening today. The universe is like, no technology today. We've got all kinds of system errors. It's very strange. So, and then again, if you want to go back up, then you just click up to see the very top. How are we doing with the drill down? Are we okay with that? I see some of you are preferring Tableau, which is, yeah, I do see like in Tableau, you kind of just get to click and then it automatically drills down. But here we actually have to click down. So maybe it doesn't feel as effective. I definitely understand that. All good. Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's do, yes, here it's easier to organize charts. I completely agree. Here, what we do is we just click and just move it around. So I think it's much more simple to organize and align charts. It's a great point. Kimmy saying, give me Tableau. But Jeffrey saying, Looker Studio is still my favorite. I like the decisiveness. I like, it's very cool. Okay. And then, yes, if you want to double check your calculation, what you do for your calculated fields, just click on this f of x to the left. So if I click on the f of x, then I get to see my field. Okay. So let's do the exact same thing, but we want to see profit this time. We want to see, okay, how much profit are we making by each instrument? I love Marie saying, Google just copied Tableau. I mean, yes, it does feel very much like Tableau. So I definitely see where you're coming from. I love all these points. So I would like you to guide me through this. I want to now create a drill down, but I want to focus on profit. What am I going to do? Where do I start? And Hassan's just like, here's my detailed view dashboard. Boom. I love to see that too. Well done. Yes, our favorite button, the show me of Looker Studio, add a chart. Exactly. So now I'm going to, ooh, good question. Do I prefer Tableau or Looker Studio? Personally, I prefer neither. I prefer kind of hand making all my visualizations. So I'm in a completely different, very odd bin. But I appreciate the question. If I were forced to choose, I would say Tableau, just because Tableau has more features to me. So now, oh my goodness. Whoever said they had a system error before has given me their system error. So let's close this out and let's create a chart again. And let's make a bar chart once more with feeling. Oh, it's mad at me. That's fine. Let's let it stay mad and let's just replace the dimensions. So as long as we replace the dimensions, I'm hoping it'll be okay. But can you tell me which dimensions to replace? Which dimensions do I need this time? Marie saying, pretend not to care and I'll be back. Metric. See more typing. What do I do? So I want to create a drill down, but this time with profit. What do I need to do? Yes, well done. Profit in the metric. Excellent. Profit. Okay, we've got a happier Looker Studio. Awesome. What else do I need to do? This isn't quite what I want it to be yet. What is the next? Yes, we got to enable the drill down. Excellent. So remember, we have to first enable the drill down so we can add these different dimensions. Excellent. And then Hassan's got the order for our hierarchy. Well done. We have our product line. Then we have our product type. Then we have our description, which is here. And now we've got our profit. Excellent. I don't know why it's making everything kind of like gray, but remember you can change the color by going to Style, and then you can pick your different text and colors here. So you can choose your colors down here. Awesome. Are we okay with drill down? How are we feeling about drill down? And then Marta's just like, just duplicate this chart and save yourself a lot of worry. That's also a good way to do it. Your drill's not working. If it's not working and you have everything like this, you've already done your drill down and everything like this, maybe you might have to refresh again. Yeah, it might be because of the crash. Yeah. And repeat, definitely. So remember, we're just using a bar chart for this. So add a chart, and then we just chose a bar chart. So with this, remember, you first have to enable the drill down. You just click this, and then once this is blue, it means you've enabled the drill down. You have to choose this order because it's a hierarchy. This means we're starting at product line, then going deeper to product type, then going to the very bottom to description. Our metric is what we actually want to measure. So what numbers we're measuring here. So for this one, instead of having our record count or how many things we've actually sold, this is going to be profit. So we just take profit, click, and drag it right into metric. So that's what we did. Awesome. Okay. So we have successfully done our drill down. Now let's do potentially our second most favorite chart is the bubble chart. So, awesome. I'm glad you worked it out, Sam. Well done. Gonzalo's ahead of the game. You've already got your bubble chart. Beautiful. We've got our dark mode dashboard. I love to see it. So we now want to make our bubble chart. We've almost completed our detailed view. So remember, we want to see our units sold by the different states in the US. And the bigger the bubble, this means that the more was sold in this state. So let's go ahead and create our bubble chart. I haven't really organized these, but of course you can kind of drag these around and organize them as you'd like to. So we're going to add a chart, and then we're going to look for our bubble map. So make sure we're selecting this bubble map. There are a lot of other cool features that you can use, but we'll just work with our bubble map for today. Then you can place it wherever you'd like. It's going to be mad at you at first, and this is because we haven't given it a dimension yet. So the dimension that we're going to use for location is destination state. So we're going to use destination state. So what you'll do is you'll click, you'll drag, put it right into location. So remember, we're using destination state. And now you see it's going to be a little bit happier. So that's good, but you'll also see all of the bubbles are the same size. That means something's not quite right. And it's because we haven't given any metric for size. So we have to give a metric for size. Remember, we want to see units sold. So if it's going to be units sold, if that's my metric, I look for units sold right here, click, and put this into size. So make sure you're putting this into size because this changes the size of the bubbles. So now I see that this looks correct. Awesome. Amazing. I see them appearing in live chat. Well done. And of course, you have other dimensions that you could add as well. So you can add different colors. So a dimension, if you have different categories you want to see by color, maybe you want to see the different types of pianos, you could do that. And then other different color metrics you can add. So you can layer these different things too. Are we okay with the bubble chart? How are we with this one? Love it. I see it appearing in live chat. Well done. Good, super. Love to see it. Amazing. Yes, I can repeat. So for this one, what we do is add a chart. Then it's under Google Maps. So you'll look under Google Maps and then click on Bubble Map. So you'll click on where you see Bubble Map. When you click on that, it's going to be mad at you. So it's going to give you this angry message. And it's because we need our location. So make sure you have your location, which should be destination state. So drag destination state into location. Not quite done yet because you see all the bubbles are the same size, which isn't super helpful. So we have to take units sold and put it into size. So this is going to allow our bubbles to be different sizes depending on how many units sold were sold in that state. Yes, disclaimers, yes. Disclaimers, aka Looker Studio being mad at you, yes. Okay. See some typing, just making sure we okay with that. And then if you want to kind of play around with the different bubbles and the colors, you can play around with the color metrics here. Or if you're not happy about like the color of the graphs or the color of your bubbles, you can change it in style. So playing around with style is going to be how you kind of make it prettier if you'd like to. Okay. Jeffrey has managed to not get a system error. I'm very jealous. And so, yeah, we're not going to use tooltip. So I highly recommend you can kind of play around with these different things. So if you just want to experiment, you could just drag something to tooltip and see what it does. So tooltip, it's not going to be really helpful for us here, but it's giving us this kind of extra layer. So we're not only seeing just units sold, but we of course should change these colors. We're also seeing dollars sold. So we're seeing kind of like a double chart here. But ideally, those will be different colors or else they'll confuse your reader. Oh, hey. So, no problem. So now we have this. You have successfully done this. Well done. We have some time. I think we can just kind of complete this detailed chart. And also it gives us more practice as well in kind of building our different charts. So, kind of our throwback to our Tableau session last week, we still have to create our pie chart as well as our bar chart that tells us our age ranges of our customers. So let's just do our pie chart first, but I would like you to guide me through this. So if I am trying to make a pie chart that's going to tell me the different items that were sold, by the different channels. So I want to see how many items were sold by each channel. How would I start? How would I create a chart like this? Well done. Gonzalo's already got the dimension and metrics down. Amazing. Well done. Shri is like, it's always add a chart. Why do you keep asking us this? Yes, we're going to start with add a chart. Well done. And we're going to look for pie chart. So we've got it under pie. We click pie. Place this wherever you would like to. Amazing. You all are really getting the hang of this. I love to see it, especially with our dimensions and our metrics. So as you've all have said, this right now is product line, but this needs to be channel because we want to see how many different things were sold based upon the channel. Although this is also helpful to see like which channels were getting the most profit, this time we want to look at units sold. So instead of having profit here, I'm going to replace this with units sold. And now I have my pie chart. So if you want to kind of play around with just your dashboard, similar to Tableau, it's going to depend on, I guess, your window, your browser window. You can go into theme and layout and you can choose like the width and height. if you click on layout, so first we were at theme. If you click on layout, you can choose and kind of change. So you can choose your canvas and these default things here. So like letter, screen, or you can create your own custom size. So yeah, for the pie chart, so to create this, what we do is add a chart. And I see my annotation's gone again. We're going to click pie chart right here. So remember, just like our last dashboard, we wanted to see the different channels. So the different ways that our customers can purchase. And we want to see how many units sold were purchased across all our channels. So this means our category is going to be channel. So our dimension is going to be channel. And then our metric is going to be units sold because we're trying to see how many units were sold across all of these channels. And then we have our pie chart. No problem. Awesome. Well done. I love seeing these dashboards. I see some typing. Just want to make sure we're okay. How to do 3D pie like in Excel. Yes, so unfortunately, Looker Studio doesn't have kind of the fancy 3D pie. It only has this kind of 2D pie and the donut. But yes, that's a great point. So for pie chart, what you'll do again, add a chart, then you'll click pie chart, and then we're using channel as dimension, and then units sold as metric. And then if you want to change kind of your different formats here for your pie chart, you're going to go to style, and then you see instead of percentage, you can do value if you wanted to change, if you wanted to show numbers instead of percentage. And so I think I see your question, which metric did you use for the first chart? I'm not sure which one you mean. If you mean this one, these are the metrics. So we use record count for this one. It should be the same as units sold, but if your data is kind of wonky, then it won't be. But of course, it's not your fault. It's just kind of EDA in the background for important data cleaning. And then this is the dimension. And a great question, does it autosave? So Google, if it crashes, I believe it's kind of saving in the background. However, it's better if you save it yourself. So what you can do is click on this share. So if I click on share, once I do this, you can, if you want to, you can make it public. So I can make this restricted, or I can kind of do these different things. And then when I click done, then it's a-okay. But just like if you're using Google Sheets or Google Docs, it's kind of just saving in the background. So it's just saving in the background. And yes, so for values for pie chart, I click on the pie chart, click style, and scroll down to this is under label. And instead of percentage, I can click value. And then James is asking, if you notice an issue with your data, could you update the CSV, then upload the newly saved CSV and the charts update, or would you need to start again? Yes, that's a great point. So this is static, so you would need to update it again. However, in Tableau, I believe you have the functionality where you can kind of just dynamically update your data, but that's a great point. But I don't think Looker Studio has that same functionality. That's a great question. And then for save, so Looker Studio should just be saving in the background, but if you want to just double check, you can just go to share. And then once you click this done, if you want to share this with other people, you can copy the link here. But once you click done, it should be fine. It should go ahead and save there. But just like Google Sheets, every time you do a change, Looker Studio should be dynamically saving. No problem. Okay. Awesome. Well done. We've got our pie charts and everything. And then if your pie chart is all full, just make sure, oops, let me click the slice. Just make sure that your dimensions are correct. So make sure that your metric is units sold and your channel is for dimension. Yes, and you want, yes, so yes, adding the date picker. So definitely, that's a good recap to complete our detailed view. So if you remember, just like in our first chart, we also had our kind of filter for our date picker. If we want to add this as well to our detailed view, which of course we should, then what we'll do is click Add a Control, then click Date Range Control, and then you can place this wherever you'd like to. So now we have it right here, and that is our data picker. Or sorry, date picker, not data picker. Awesome. I love seeing all of the beautiful dashboards. Well done. So why don't we just complete this with our last visualization? So, and awesome, we've got our shared dashboards. Well done. So if you remember, the last dashboard or the last chart that we did for our detailed view was that bar chart that's showing the customer age. So I haven't given much space for this, but of course you can reorganize your own dashboard. So what we'll do is we're going to click Add a Chart, and then we're going to go to our bar chart. So we really like our bar charts here. I'm going to be kind of weird with my organization, but of course you can arrange this however you'd like to. So we want to see our customer age group. So if I want to see this, what do I have to replace? If I'm trying to find customer age group, what am I going to replace? What do I need to replace? Yes, you could also, if you want to kind of combine your profit and your unit sold, you could merge that too. Yep, that's a good point. Because yeah, we're running out of space here. So here, oh, I see typing. So if we're trying to instead see our customer age group, then yes, exactly. We're going to replace destination state with customer age group. Excellent. So this is going to be a little bit different. We see units sold, which could be helpful, but this isn't quite what we want. So does anyone have an idea of what we would do? And maybe I hovered over it for too long, but we want to instead see how many customers are in each of these age groups. What would we do? How would we do this? We did something similar in Tableau, but I just want to see if we remember. So this one, it's very close. We're going to use our customer key. So we're going to use our customer key in metrics. However, you'll notice when you first look at this, we have some, and we're saying we have like millions of customers, which would be amazing, but I don't think we have this many customers. So instead of some, we have to click and change this to our favorite thing, count distinct. So we have to change this to our count distinct. So then once we do this, we're going to go ahead and I think this should do the same thing for our record. We can actually, no, I don't think it'll be the same for record count this time. But we're going to make sure to choose count distinct. Because our record count is just going to be all of our data, but we need to connect it to our customer somehow. So this is, yeah, definitely. Yeah, repeat how to change from some. So when you add your metric, so normally it's going to just be sum. If I want to change this from sum to count distinct, What I'll do is just click on to the very left where I see the pencil. And normally it would be the aggregation would be sum, but I want to change this to count distinct. So change this to count distinct. And then we have it. Amazing. Hassan's already got it down. Beautiful. Awesome. And then, of course, this is kind of chaotic the way I have it here. But if you wanted to, again, add your image, insert, and then Yusuf so helpfully put it back in live chat. You do insert image, and then place it wherever you'd like to. Select a file. You see my chaotic downloads again, but find your file and open. And then, of course, you can add your scorecards as well. So remember for scorecards, that's just add a chart. And then we were using the compact scorecards. So if we wanted to just add those in, I know my chart is way less organized, but your charts are all looking beautiful in live chat. Just remember, we have to change our metrics for our scorecards. So if I want profit, I can have profit. If I also want revenue, then I can find my dollar sold here, replace it. Now I've got my revenue. And then lastly, we had our units sold. So we create our last one, compact numbers. And yours will look nothing like this. Yours will be much more beautiful. And then we're going to get our units sold. And then we have all of the components actually for our detailed charts. You all have actually arranged these much more beautifully than this one already. But if you're starting from here, all you need to do is kind of click and then drag these around to make sure they're not overlapping and make sure they're nice and neat. And yes, you could also copy them from the bird's eye view page as well. Yeah, that's a good point. And then if your pie chart maybe doesn't look exactly the same, just double check that you have the correct metrics and the correct dimension. If not, it might just be easier to kind of delete the pie chart and then remake it with these dimensions and metrics. Yeah, it did not leave much space for kind of any of this. Yeah. So amazing work, everyone. You have, oh yes, so complete. Yes, I'll repeat this quickly for the last chart for customer key. So just for this one, what we did is this is a bar chart. Our dimension was age group. So we're looking at the age group for our customers. And then normally your metric will be sum, just automatically it will be sum. To change it, click on the very left. So hover over until you see a pencil and change it to count distinct. So you want to make sure you change this to count distinct and then it will change. Amazing. So thank you all for your attention and your enthusiasm with Looker Studio. If you want to delete a chart, I saw another quick question. You just click on the chart and then backspace. That's what you do. But you have all successfully completed your first Looker Studio dashboard, so well done. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to put them either in extra help, message your TAs, or feel free to shoot some to me. And it was great seeing you all. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week for sequel.